My name's Jordan, and I go to Temple University. I'm majoring in criminal justice, ironically, and I like to think I've got a pretty solid sense of when something feels wrong. I've grown up in Philly all my life, and I know the city, good and bad sides of it. Temple's campus isn't exactly in the safest neighborhood, and that's not news to anyone who goes here. You learn to keep your head down, stay aware, and walk fast. Still, nothing I knew prepared me for what happened a few months ago. I had just gotten out of a 2-year relationship, and like most college kids who hate going to parties but still want to meet people, I turned to dating apps. I downloaded Bumble. Didn't expect much from it, but I matched with this girl named Alina. Her profile didn't look fake. No over-edited photos, nothing weird in her bio. She looked cute, had a dry sense of humor, said she liked horror movies and hiking. We talked for about 2 weeks straight. Nothing felt off. She told me she was a nursing major at Drexel, and we started joking about how that made her the enemy since our schools are rivals. Eventually, she asked if I wanted to meet up in person. She said she didn't feel comfortable inviting people to her apartment, which I respected. So we decided to meet at a quiet little coffee spot halfway between both our schools. It was one of those independent shops open late, with moody lighting and indie music playing. We made plans for a Thursday night. When the time came, I took the subway most of the way and walked the last couple blocks. It was already dark, but the street was well lit. I was about 5 minutes early and texted her that I was outside. She replied a minute later saying, "Actually, I just parked down the street. Can you come to me instead? I feel weird walking alone in this area." That made sense to me, so I asked her to drop a pin. She did. It was only 2 blocks away. I headed over, expecting to find her car parked at the curb. But when I got there, I didn't see anyone sitting in a car. Just a row of parked vehicles, most of them empty. Then, out of nowhere, someone called out, "Hey, Jordan." I turned. A man mid-40s, beard, hoodie, holding a phone in one hand, was standing between 2 cars. It was obvious he had been waiting for me. I didn't answer at first. I just kind of stared. He walked closer, smiling like we knew each other. "You're here for Alina, right?" he asked. My blood went cold. Something in his tone felt off. Too casual, too confident, like he expected me to say yes. I said, "Yeah." "Where is she?" "She's in the car just around the corner," he said. "She's a little shy. Asked me to come meet you first. She's weird about meeting people." I stared at him and took a step back. "Why would she send you? Are you her brother?" He paused and then laughed awkwardly. "Kind of. Just a friend. She just didn't want to get out alone." I didn't respond. I felt my body tense up and my instincts were screaming at me to get out of there. So I said, "Tell her I'll meet her at the coffee shop like we planned." And I turned around. That's when I heard the guy call out, "Hey, don't be like that." His voice sounded more urgent, less casual now. I picked up my pace and didn't look back until I was halfway up the block. He was standing exactly where I'd left him, just staring. When I got to the coffee shop, I sat down outside and texted Alina again. I said, "What the hell? Who is that guy?" She replied, "What guy?" I froze. I asked her if she sent someone to meet me. She said no, said she was still parking. I waited a few more minutes. She never showed. The pin she dropped earlier? Gone. Message thread still there, but that location pin vanished. Then I noticed something that made my stomach turn. The man who'd approached me earlier, he was standing across the street, staring right at me from behind a bus stop sign. I didn't hesitate. I went inside the coffee shop, ordered something just to stay in there longer, and sat at a table near the window to keep an eye on him. He was still there. No phone, no movement, just watching. I didn't want to walk home. I wasn't about to take the train either. I ordered an Uber and kept my location visible until it arrived. When it pulled up, I asked the barista if he could walk me to the car. He did without hesitation. The car drove me straight back to my dorm. I felt better once I was inside. Doors locked. I went straight to my messages and blocked Alina. I reported the profile and saved the whole conversation just in case. I thought that would be the end of it. But the next night, while I was studying in my room, I got a text from a new number. "You're smarter than you look. Most people get in the car." No name, no context, just that. I didn't answer. I showed the message to my RA, who suggested I call campus security. They filed a report and said to let them know if anything else happened. A week passed. Nothing. I started to move on. Then I saw him again. Not on campus, but at a gas station near my friend's apartment, about a mile from where we'd originally planned to meet. I was grabbing snacks for a game night when I saw the man's reflection in the glass door of the fridge. He was standing at the back of the store, just watching me. I dropped everything and left the store immediately. That night, I got another message, this time from a different number. Just a single photo. It was me, taken from behind, walking away from the gas station. I couldn't breathe for a second. I called the police this time, not just campus security. They asked for screenshots, which I gave them, but I could tell they didn't really expect to catch anyone. After that, I changed my phone number, deleted all my dating apps. I even started walking a different route to class, just in case. I've never seen him since, at least not that I know of. But I still think about that night, about how easily it could have gone differently. If I'd been a little more trusting, a little more tired, or just felt bad about being rude, I might have stepped toward that car, might have gotten in, might have disappeared. Sometimes I still wonder if Alina was ever real, or if the profile was built just for me, piece by piece, based on whatever I liked. Whoever it was, they knew my school, they knew my name, they knew what I looked like, and they're still out there. I was pet sitting for my aunt and uncle one weekend, while they went upstate for a friend's wedding. They lived in a small house on the edge of a suburban town, the kind of place where the nearest neighbor's porch light was visible only when the trees were bare. The house was cozy, with a lot of older furniture and creaky floorboards. I had been there a few times before, mostly during the day. Staying overnight was different though, especially alone. They had one dog, a lazy old retriever named Max, and a cat that rarely showed itself. The first night was quiet. I fed the animals, double-checked the locks like they asked, and eventually fell asleep on the couch with Max lying beside me. Nothing strange. It was the second night when things got weird. It started with Max. He was asleep 1 minute, then suddenly lifted his head and stared toward the back of the house. It was late, just past midnight, and I had been watching some crime documentary on my laptop. I paused it and listened. Nothing. I gave Max a little nudge and said, "It's nothing, buddy," but he didn't look at me. He kept staring toward the back door, ears low, eyes wide. Then I heard it, a soft tapping, not at the front door, but the back, just once. I sat up slowly. Max stood, growling low. The blinds were drawn so I couldn't see outside without lifting them. I tiptoed into the kitchen and stood by the back door. The house was old, and the door had one of those fogged glass windows that made everything outside look blurry. I stared at it for a while. No movement. I told myself maybe it was a tree branch or some animal. Then it came again. 3 soft knocks. Not random, not rushed, deliberate. I didn't lift the blinds. I just backed away slowly and went back to the couch. Max didn't follow me this time. He stayed in the kitchen, tail down, staring at the door. Eventually, I grabbed my phone and texted my uncle. "Hey, has anything weird happened here lately? Someone's at the back door." He didn't respond. No reception out where they were. I turned on all the downstairs lights and left the TV on for background noise. I tried to stay calm. It worked for a while, but around 2 a.m., I heard it again. Not at the back door this time. At the living room window, right behind the couch where I was sitting. 3 taps. I didn't move. I just stared straight ahead. Max had started barking now, running between the windows. I jumped up, looked toward the window, but whoever it was had already stepped back out of sight. I ran to the other side of the house and checked the front door. Nothing. Then, as I circled back toward the kitchen, I heard it again. This time, the garage door. 3 taps. Like someone was circling the house, testing every entry point, making sure I knew they were there. I didn't want to call the police unless I had something concrete to say, but I was shaking now. My aunt didn't have security cameras, and her garage didn't connect to the house. It was a separate little structure just past the driveway. I stood in the kitchen, staring out toward it through the side window. Then I saw it, a figure, standing just outside the reach of the porch light, right in front of the garage. I couldn't see much. A coat, a hood maybe, hands hanging at their sides. just standing there, not moving. I called out, "Hey, you need to leave or I'm calling the cops." No response, no reaction. I blinked, turned to grab my phone, and when I looked back, they were gone. That night, I barely slept. I turned every light in the house on and locked myself in the bedroom, with Max curled beside the bed, growling softly every time there was the slightest creak or sound. Morning couldn't come fast enough. The next day, I debated leaving, but I told myself I was probably just being paranoid. Maybe it was some late-night weirdo passing through, maybe even a prank. I had one more night. I could manage that, so I stayed. That evening, around 7, I noticed something. The side gate to the backyard was open. I distinctly remembered locking it when I let Max out earlier. It was one of those heavy rusted iron gates that clanged loudly when it closed. I would have heard it. I went outside and latched it again. At 9 p.m. I checked it once more, still locked. At 11, it was wide open again. I didn't go outside this time. I pulled all the blinds shut and pushed the couch up against the front door. I blocked the back door with the kitchen table. It might have been overkill, but something was wrong. Something felt off about the whole house. Even the cat had disappeared. I hadn't seen it since that first night. Max was hiding in the bedroom now, refusing to come out. At 1 a.m., the doorbell rang. It was the first time whoever it was made any real attempt to get inside. I waited. Maybe it was the cops, maybe a neighbor. Then it rang again and again. Then, 3 taps on the window beside the door. I didn't respond. I just stood there, staring at the door, phone in hand, heart racing. I turned off the lights and crawled into the hallway where I could peek through the side window without being seen. There was someone standing on the porch, same coat, same hood. Except now, I could see their face, kind of. They were wearing something. A mask maybe. It looked like a stretched out smile, too wide, too fake. Their head twitched a little. They weren't knocking anymore. Just standing there, staring at the door. Then they walked away, or at least I thought they did. I checked every window, every door. I didn't see them again, but I didn't sleep either. The sun came up and I finally let myself relax. My aunt and uncle would be home later that afternoon. I left all the lights on, kept the dog with me, and waited out the day. But before they came home, one more thing happened. I found something by the side gate. A note tucked under a rock, in red ink, block letters. "I know you saw me." That was it. No name, no explanation, just those 5 words. When my aunt and uncle came home, I didn't say anything right away. I didn't want to freak them out or make them think I was crazy, but I did tell them the next day, after I left. I called them and explained everything. My uncle was quiet for a long time before telling me something I hadn't known. Apparently a few months ago, someone had tried to break into their garage, just scratched at the door with something metal and left. No one was ever caught. He thought it was just a random thing. Now, he wasn't so sure. They installed cameras shortly after that call. They never saw the masked person again. But to this day, I have no idea who that was or why they kept coming back that night. And sometimes, late at night when I'm alone, I still think about that note. "I know you saw me," like it was a warning or a promise.